Hello, my name is Manuel Zelaya, and I work for Peak Research Firm, where we place trust in the efficiency of statistical precision. Today I'm going to be speaking to you a little bit about us, what we do, and our current study. Peak Research Group is a leading player in sales statistics with a particular focus for the current generation of young adults 18 through 29. Peak Research develops business-changing methodologies, delivering step-by-step action plans for your business through statistics and analysis of the current commerce supply lines, delivering on data and precise calculations on today's latest trends and their impact on the global market. Peak Research has various products. Among them are our express consultations. We have a 90-minute management conference where you can stay within the comforts of your own location and have our statistical analysis experts walk you step by step to a better business model over a 3-person conference call with up to 5 members of your management team. Please allow 30 days advance notice so we may have the time to build a portfolio on your company and study your business data and recent quarterly reports. We also have a 3-day on-site analyst consultation where our experts fly over to you, and upon touchdown in your city or town, expect world-class business advising as our team of analysts walk through the everyday processes of you and your management team. We have other products, including annual membership consultations, and details of these can be seen at our website at peakresearchfirm.com. Next, I will be speaking to you about our current study. And now our current study. For 2017, Peak Research Firm dedicated its time to researching the correlation between smartphone operating systems and vending machine use. Seems a bit simple, right? Not really. This is a very complex subject. It involves what type of smartphones are users using, whether that be an iPhone, Android, Windows tablet, or other OS, and whether or not the correlation is strong between vending machine use, smart vending machine use, or no vending machine use. Peak Research Firm decided to do this study by submitting a survey to a public website that was then used by our analysts to walk around campus and take one by one accounts by asking students whether or not they can fill out the survey. The survey was a 7-question total. It included questions that asked them what type of OS did they use, whether or not they use a vending machine, whether or not they get a water or some other drinking snack from the vending machine. The 4th question was whether or not they bought any snacks from the vending machine, and that included any sort of hard food, not including any bottle. The other question, 5th question, included how much do they spend approximately. All this data was then compiled, 7-question survey, through a server that submitted an Excel spreadsheet every single night to Peak Research Firm. Those results were then gathered, compiled, and added all up into one large response in which our analyst looked at them, developed several graphs and charts, and tried to make sense of the data. We found that there is no strong correlation between a user that has a smartphone and using a smart vending machine. As a matter of fact, Peak Research Firm's professional opinion is that smart vending machines are actually a waste of money. We see that there is a very high chance of a smartphone user ages 18 through 29 to use a vending machine, but whether or not it's smart or not doesn't really affect them. As a matter of fact, what we found is most often users actually completely ignore the smart application of the vending machine. And by smart, I mean different types of smart paying systems such as Apple Pay and Samsung Pay. These type of systems will be further spoken about from our analysts in the next upcoming slides.
Hello, my name is Elijah, and I'll be discussing about the Android's history portion of this group assignment that involves the correlation between how cell phone usage causes people to purchase more items in vending machines. Now, just to give you a brief explanations, Android Inc., as far as the company is concerned, began development in the early 2000s, and then towards 2005-ish it started being more known across different organizations, different corporations, and Google was able to see that it had potential, so they were able to go in and purchase the organization or corporation in around 2006 and start putting in more money, more revenue in order for it to grow and make profit out of it. And on top of that, Android was run by like a self third party private sector, and they just began because they didn't have enough funds to do more programming, to do more upgrades, to expand on its product. They decided to let Google have it, and they'll be able to take care of it. So, but another thing too is that as far as Android's concerned, their main competitor was also Apple. So both of these companies were impacting each other all the way up to 2010, and they were trying to figure out like who's gonna make the most out of it, how they're gonna be able to implement their ideas into consumer goods. And back in 2010ish, that's when the new BlackBerry started to develop, and it was a major trend. And what Google did when after they bought Android was to incorporate their smartphone ideas into this product. And as soon as that became the new thing, after doing a lot of advertisements, that's when they started growing more and going into social media such as Facebook, Skype, and started expanding among that type of region. Also, it was known too that 96% of users are globally using Android devices, and only like about 93-94% are using Apple products. And they expanded their brand by adding the accessories like tablets, iPads, not just for cell phone usage. And other branding companies started cooperating and getting more information from those companies like Samsung with Android, and of course Apple with iPhone. And they have like user discounts for those type of devices. Also, to add more statistics more involved with the history, more than 90% of the consumers have either used it or had Android products such as phones, tablets, and other accessories. And there was many companies that had shared partnerships with Google's, and they started expanding their brand within those type of companies. And lastly, in 2011, after the BlackBerry type of competition started to die down, Google began to partnership with other areas, Sony, and by supply and demand, Google spent about $289 million on advertisement and social media to increase the value and publicity of the product. And all in all, it's just to show that these phones and devices and what kind of brands you have made the Android a very, very adverse product. And in my opinion, I think that's what helped made it grow, and it started to be connected with other things besides using it as a proprietorship, such as vending machines and other type of things. Because you can use it all kinds of apps to develop it and use many things around it. So that'll be it.
First iPhone was unveiled in January 2007 at the Macworld Convention. The design of the iPhone was revolutionary. It had touchscreen user interface that was an improvement over other smartphones of the time, such as the BlackBerry and T-Mobile Sidekick, which required a keyboard. The first iPhone released to the public was the iPhone 2G. It was released in 3 separate storage models, 4GB, 8GB, and 16GB. The 8GB retailed at $599 and required a 2-year contract with AT&T. The iPhone 3G was released the following year and included assisted GPS and 3G internet. The iPhone 3G was also the first to include the Apple App Store. In the summer of 2009, the iPhone 3GS was released with a better screen resolution and a faster processor. By the year 2010, the iPhone 4 was released and introduced as the thinnest smartphone in the market. The iPhone 4 had a high-resolution display and a camera located in the front for video calling. The iPhone 4S had an updated A5 dual-core chip and included a built-in intelligent assistant named Siri. The following year, the iPhone 5 broke all sales records and included a more advanced processor while maintaining the same price range as its predecessors. The history of advancements goes on, with the most recent being the iPhone 7 retailing at $649 unlocked. The iPhone has been extremely successful in sales despite its high price. In fact, 2 university-wide surveys about student mobile technology ownership were conducted. According to a 2014 EDUCAUSE report, 86% of undergraduate students owned a smartphone. The surveys I am referencing targeted UCF students in 2012 and 2014. The results of the survey showed that 95% of respondents from a sample of 1,181 owned a smartphone. 66% of the students sampled owned iPhones, while 30% of the students owned an Android. The details of the survey show that it was collected from 106 graduate students and 1,075 undergraduate students. 68% of the respondents were female and 22% were male. The age range of the survey respondents was in between the ages of 18 and 64. The mean age was 24 and the standard deviation was 7.04. Even though the survey is a few years old, based on recent data tabulated by Strategy Analytics, Apple sold 21.5 million iPhone 7 devices last quarter, following in second place by iPhone 7 Plus, which moved 17.4 million units during the March quarter, making still that the iPhone is the most popular smartphone.
Vending machines have been around surprisingly since the 1st century, though they haven't always been called vending machines. Centuries after the first vending machine was created, Percival Everett designed a more modern vending machine in 1883. Since then, the vending machine has become a lot more advanced, incorporating cashless payment systems. Cashless payment systems make getting snacks, drinks, and other items easier without having to carry around a ton of cash. Most people these days don't even carry cash. They carry around little plastic payment cards, formerly known as credit cards. Credit cards make life so much easier, again making transactions quicker because of the absence of physical money. There are several forms of cashless mobile payment systems: Apple Pay, Android Pay, Samsung Pay, and Google Wallet. Each of these is similar in the fact that users have to upload their credit card information to the app. The main differences lie within the authentication process. Apple Pay uses a fingerprint scanner. Android Pay requires the phone to simply be unlocked. Samsung Pay requires the app to be opened, then requires either a fingerprint or iris scan. And Google Wallet requires the app to be opened and the PIN entered before the transaction can be placed. With mobile payment systems, eventually people won't even have to carry around a wallet or purse if they desire.
Data collected for the smartphone operating system and vending machine users came from multiple users of ages 18 and over, where most of our data came from users between the ages of 20 and 29 years old. With the information at hand, we were able to process it and divide it into different areas for analysis. First off, we started with a histogram of the weekly usage of the vending machines separated by age groups to learn a little more about the patterns of our sample data at hand. With this, we could get concrete numbers on the average of each group using the vending machines. We still wish to take it further, so we created a Pareto chart to see how the different ages reacted to using the vending machines weekly. To do this, we created our control chart where the central lines were at 4.1, which is the average of all the ages, and after subtracting and adding the standard deviation of such averages, which was at 2.13, we got our upper and lower control limits at 1.94 and 6.20. With this, we could see where each age fell on the diagram, and were blown away by the sudden drop of 25-year-old users and the extremely low users of the vending machines, even though they were our median age for our most impactful ages of 20 to 29. In addition, although small in numbers, the 30 to 39-year-olds had the highest average of all the groups. The smartphone integration of the research is taken as the users reply to whether or not they use cash-free payment or tap to pay with the vending machines and what type of operating systems did their phone have. First off, with the tap to pay, 72 out of 250 or 29% said that they use tap to pay on the vending machines from all of the users. From these, 161 have Android, while only 54 had iPhones and the rest were miscellaneous. This means that 65% of the users were able to use multiple versions of Tap to Pay to assist them with their vending machine purchases. However, only 27% of the Android operators had Tap to Pay, and iPhone users were almost at 35%. Used Tap to Pay, and iPhone users were almost at 35%. This helped us to immediately prove that iPhone users are more likely to spend more money on random purchases. With the phone comparisons out of the way, we decided to take a look at which age groups really embraced the Tap to Pay, who were the 20 to 29-year-old users. Here, out of 3 will use Tap to Pay on their weekly routine, thus providing us with a market to exploit the usage of Tap to Pay and increase accessibility of purchases on the vending machines as well as sales. The maximum error of the overall users changing their minds after saying yes or not using machines anymore is only at 4.02%, a 99 confidence level from the 250 users, meaning that there's very minimal risk for investors to apply the technology to multiple vending machines as they target their optimal target ages 20 to 29. With most students who were a large part of this research and working for certain areas such as mall and offices who were a large part of this, one can see the advantages of having Tap to Pay accessible to vending machines, as most of the market does not carry a wallet in this day and age, but will definitely be holding their smartphone, thus maximizing sales and profit from every available source. Thank you for watching this video at our firm at Pix Research. Thank you.